Hey you, do you ever lie awake at night, wondering if you're getting this parenting thing right? What if I told you there's an easy way to know, for sure? Hello, Power Parent, and welcome to the Leadership Parenting Podcast. I'm Uzondu, the Leadership Parenting Coach, and I'm excited to help you raise empowered and resilient children and become the parent you want to be by applying work skills at home. And for now, let me share how you can bring your work home. How often do you ask yourself, am I doing this right? And there are feelings of doubt, of guilt, of frustration, and it doesn't feel right. The funny thing is that you normally don't ask yourself those questions when you're in a good mood, when you're feeling great. You start doubting. You wonder whether you provide enough love and support. You wonder whether you aren't too lenient towards your children or maybe too strict. You wonder whether you're balancing your work and life adequately to give your child the attention that they need. You wonder whether you're setting the right example. So, what do you do next? I think normally you either Google or you ask for advice. You go to your friends or your family and you ask them, and they are very often your friends are understanding, or they will say that it's normal. You seek reassurance with others. What is also a possibility is that you ignore it. You just push it away. You figure that, oh, you know what, everybody's going through this, or this is normal, or I shouldn't make such a big fuss of it, or there's just simply nothing that I can do right about this. And family and friends might have dealt with similar situations. They can help you find an answer and give you a sense of being on top of things again. The thing is that you doubt because you just don't have enough information to feel certain, or at least that's what you're thinking. And Googling or reading books or asking for advice can take away that insecurity for a small part of that. But wouldn't it be nicer to just have that confirmation earlier in the process, independent of what others say or what other people find? What if I tell you that there's actually a simple way to determine this? That you don't have to wonder, you don't even have to lie awake at night worrying. So let's go back to the workplace. You have a job, you have your responsibilities over there. So this is probably a situation that you can relate to. And I normally compare parenting situations to leadership and work situations, because unlike parenting, we do get trainings and coaching and everything for the workplace. So if you're in the office, if you're working on a process and you want to know how you're doing, you don't wait until the end of the process. You don't work on a project for 6 months or longer, and then only when the project has been finished, you decide whether it is successful or not. Along the way, there are these indicators that can show you how you're doing in that process. And normally, for a process, you define those indicators before you start. So before you start a project, you already look at, okay, we're going to look at money, we're going to look at time, we're going to look at resources. We have certain milestones that we take a look at where we see how we're doing. The same goes for automated processes. You look at the pile of the amount of invoices that are coming in, or the speed in which something is produced. Those are all signals along the process that can give you an indication, and that can give you information about the results that will end up at the end. So if that's what we look at in a process or in a work situation, why not do the same thing at home when you're parenting? And this is going to sound strange because it's not a way to normally judge how you're parenting. But emotions are your indicators showing you how well you're doing in your project, your career of being or of becoming a good parent. Every time when you have an interaction with your child, or when you make decisions for your child or make preparations for your child, the way you feel is an indication of how well you're doing. If you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling doubtful, if you're feeling, ashamed or angry or nauseous even, then those are indicators that you're not really on the track of where you want to be. And yes, I do know that nauseous is not an emotion, but it has to do with what do you feel? What do you feel in your body? And they're often related. So the sadness, the anger, the frustration, all those emotions. And on the other hand, when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling confident, when you're feeling in control, those are all signs that, oh, you know what? You're doing all right. You're making the right decisions. You're having good conversations. And then, of course, there's also the way in which your child reacts. That is information that you can use in order to see, okay, what I just said, to me, it still feels neutral, but I can see that my child finds it very upsetting. So that is also, again, information on how you're doing. So in principle, there are 4 things that you need to do. You need to pay attention to how you are feeling. You need to pay attention to how your child is feeling. What's the way that your child reacts? And that can be in words, the tone, the pitch of his words, the actions that he or she takes. It can be in face expressions, in the body language, the way they hold their body, the way they move. So really observe what's happening and be conscious of what is happening in your body as well. It is important to look at both because you have been programmed a certain way, and everything that you think is right or wrong also has an impact on what you feel. And then for your child, they might really suffer from things as screen time, because some programs, some games are really designed to trigger the addictive hormones in their bodies. But that's another story. I still remember my daughter was 3 and I was just very, very, I think, overwhelmed, overworked. I couldn't think straight. And I probably had food in the house and in the kitchen, but I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was just feeling very overwhelmed, and I knew I needed to cook something. So I dragged my kid to the supermarket. We went in and I looked at everything that was on display and I just couldn't make my mind up. I was just so overwhelmed, and I really wanted her to have a decent meal, a good meal, a healthy meal and everything. I mean, because that's what you do as a parent. And in the end, we went back home, and the only thing I was thinking was, okay, well, she does need something. So I ended up feeding her cereal for dinner. And for the past 3 years, I had been providing her with proper meals every night. And I was feeling horrible because I felt like a bad mom. And then my daughter looked up. I was like, ooh, can we do this more often? I really like this. And because of her reaction, I realized, oh goodness, I was putting the bar so high for myself. How bad is it to feed your child something unhealthy once every 3 years? So that's why I'm saying look at both your reactions. Look at your child's reactions and look at your reactions, your emotions, and then go to the next step, which is reflecting on them. Where did they come from? So reflect on those emotions. Where did they come from? What happened that caused them? And then analyze the cause. Is it something that I said? Or is it something that is a layer deeper? Is it something that I believe? Or maybe sometimes there has been a situation that you were already tired, or your child was tired or overstimulated. So look at the causes of that emotion and then adapt, learn and adapt, because that is what parenting is. That is what personal growth and personal development is. You learn and you adapt so that the next time you will do differently. And of course, if you feel like, wow, you could use some help with this and you want to have a conversation, send me an email or reach out via my website. And I'd love to get you started, help you get started. So what you get once you have combined all this information, once you really look at, okay, how am I feeling, is that you will start using your body for more than just transporting your head. You will start to listen to what's happening in your body, in your interactions, and use that to steer your parenting. You will have the answer. Did I do this right? No, because it didn't feel right. Okay, so what am I going to do about it? Instead of talking about it with friends and making it just so much bigger than it needs to be. And if you're feeling very daring, probably once you feel like, okay, I've got this nailed, then you could actually, put a target on certain emotions, just like you would put a target on a process or a project in the office. You could, for example, if currently you get annoyed every day, you feel that frustration every day in interactions, you could just make a note of it. Okay, I have that every day. I'm aiming to get that to 3 per week. Make it feasible so that you get stimulated to achieve it. And then, you can always improve after that, or you will get frustrated in different situations. But all this, listen to how you're feeling so that you won't have to lie awake at night worrying, wondering if you're doing it right. By listening to your emotions, you can stop second guessing your parenting, and you can build not only your own levels of confidence, but your child's as well. So if you like the information that you've just got and you'd like to hear more, then hit subscribe, obviously, because that does something to the algorithms. Share as well, because there's so many other parents that want to improve their parenting. And let me know, what is the emotion you feel most frequently that you know is a signal of not being on track? Talk to you later. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Leadership Parenting Podcast. I hope you found the shared information valuable and full of insights. Let me know your thoughts. Feel free to send me your questions, as well as suggestions for new topics. I'd love to hear your stories, help you empower your child, and become the parent you want to be. Remember, parenting is a personal development journey. You grow as your child grows up. And I'm happy to be your coach and help you apply your leadership skills to enjoy these precious years together. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, be the leader you want to be.